Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why the Cowboys fans need to pump the brakes after last night's win.
Oh, I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you what last night's game proved about Eli Manning. It's not good. Speak for yourself starts now on a Monday.
You went too hard on Eli. I watched your radio show.
I'll tell you, Jaguars all the way. No, I'm kidding.
All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and Michael Vick. Let's start in Dallas, where the Cowboys offense wasn't firing on all cylinders, but Ezekiel Elliott still put up over 100 yards, and the defense led Dallas to a dominant win over the Giants. New York, meanwhile, was without Odell Beckham Jr., and Eli Manning couldn't do anything without him. Cowherd, were you more impressed with the Cowboys or more disappointed by the Giants?
I was really impressed with Dallas. Listen, I know without OBJ, he was 26% of their offense. They're just limited without him. I want to tell you something. That Giant defense, that secondary is fantastic. It's a top 3 secondary. They've spent their money up front defensively. Dak was 8 for 15 on third, no interceptions. It's the one team he struggled against last year. Thought he played a really smart, decisive game. That's about as good a defense outside of Seattle as the NFC has. Dak never looked rattled, never threw a pick, second, third receivers. They ran the ball when they had to, terrific on third down. This Dallas offense is flexible. They can do a lot of things. They can throw deep. They can throw underneath. The quarterback can run. I really like Dallas's offense.
I'm disappointed by the Giants. Their offensive line play was horrific last year and even worse this year.
It is.
That was very disappointing. Brandon Marshall, I love him. Thought he was going to be an addition. One catch. That was disappointing. And so when I look over at Dallas, they did kind of what I expected, except for I expected more out of the Dak-Dez Bryant combination, and I didn't get it. So I wasn't all that impressed with the Cowboys. It's a great win, great way to start the season, but they're at home. I kind of expected that. I was really disappointed with what I saw on the Giants.
And I would have to say I was disappointed with the Giants. I did not expect them to come out and not score a single touchdown. And guys did not get involved. Brandon Marshall, maybe 2 or 3 attempts. He didn't have a catch until the end of the game. There was no run game. It was absolutely obsolete. They did nothing in the entire game. But more impressive was the Cowboys' defense. I didn't give them any credit coming into this game. I knew they had potential to be good, but they had Eli under duress all day, and there was nothing he could do.
Yeah, well, you know what, with the Giants, come on. I mean, without Odell Beckham, we still don't know what this offense can do. You know it's going to get better as soon as he gets back. But I agree with you. That offensive line is horrendous right now. And if they can't run the ball, they can't protect Eli. And Eli Manning, we all know like what he thrives in, I guess as most quarterbacks do, is that play-action pass. Yeah. A play-action pass is going to make a quarterback look good. If you have that threat of the run, they don't have that. And then when they do drop back to throw it, those tackles are not very good. Yeah. So it's very hard to see Eli Manning having success this year if this continues. It's going to get better. As soon as Odell Beckham gets back, it's going to get better. He's one of the best in the league.
I'm not so sure about, because, again, a quarterback can't throw off his back. He can't, and particularly at Eli's age, I don't think he's very good on the run. Offensive line play in New York and across the league was horrible yesterday. And I don't know if it's going to be an easy fix for the Giants or any of these teams. I don't think players are allowed to practice long enough. I think this is something we saw last year with offensive line play. Dallas was great, but a lot of teams weren't that great in the offensive line. I just don't know if you can fix those 2 tackles when you don't practice.
Think about good offensive lines. Philly's got a good O-line, 1. Dallas has a good O-line, 1. Oakland's got a good O-line, 1. Packers have a good O-line, 1. Like, if you look around the league, Seattle's loaded, couldn't move the ball. Giants defensively loaded, couldn't move the ball. Like, the best athletes in football now are, even in college, you're putting them on the defensive side. Because of the CBA, offensive lines, to your point, are probably as uncoached
as they've ever been.
Fewest hours. Like, when I watch this league, you can have Seattle and the Giants defense. Neither could move the football.
Yeah.
The O-lines are carrying this league right now.
Do you know what, back when we went to the NFC Championship 3-4 years ago, and we lost to the San Francisco 49ers, I was going to retire. We came back, coach came out, got me, said, hey, we're going to come back. Some think we're going to go back. We're going to win the Super Bowl this year. We had the same team. Pretty much the whole team is coming back. That offensive line that we had from the year before, everybody got hurt. Everybody got hurt on that offensive line. We had a horrible year. Coach gets fired. It was just, obviously, we didn't make the playoffs. I think we won 4 games. That is what happens when you don't have an offensive line. Then you don't have a team. It's not going to work. You will not win a Super Bowl, let alone get to the playoffs.
You have to give credit to the Dallas Cowboys. The last 3 or 4 years, they've invested in their offensive line, and it's showing up until this point. They're tremendously striving with those guys, you know, being in tip-top shape and making Dak Prescott look good, giving them the time to get rid of the football and just play the game, you know, in the way that it's supposed to be played.
Also, the Cowboys upgraded it to one offensive line spot that was a little shaky, right tackle. They invested in it. Now they're better at that position. In Chicago, where Matt Ryan, come on, Whitlock and the Falcons, squeaked by the lowly Bears.
We got him, Colin.
High-powered offense of a year ago, crickets.
Oh, come on.
Even Whitlock's man crush, Julio Jones, where is he? Was there, 4 catches, 66 yards. As you see there, the Falcons were down in points, yards, rushing yards, first downs from last year. Whitlock, are you worried about what you saw from the Falcons offense?
I'm not worried about the personnel at all. Julio Jones is still Julio Jones. Matt Ryan still Matt Ryan. Freeman, the running backs. The offensive line didn't play great, but the problem is on the sideline. Steve Sarkisian was horrendous. I don't think he understood he's coaching in the NFL. It's not a balanced league. I think early in the game it was 8 runs, 8 passes, and I'm like, hey, man, you got Julio Jones and you got the reigning MVP. What are you doing? It wasn't until the fourth quarter, Tony, that they threw the ball on first, second, and third down, and on third down they got the big 80-long touchdown pass to that tight end. That was the first time in the fourth quarter that they gave Matt Ryan a chance to throw on all 3 downs. Sarkisian was horrible. I think he still thinks he's working for Nick Saban.
Well, here's the thing. It's easy to be seduced by Atlanta. They are glamorous. Perimeter players. Running. I mean, if I said to you, best players, you'd be like, okay, Julio receiver, running backs are outrageous, quarterback's really good, Vic Beasley, really good pass rusher. All the glamour positions, they're amazing. How about their Sam linebacker? How about their left guard? How about their free safety?
They won, Colin.
Okay, they won.
They won.
Chicago dropped 2 touchdown passes.
I'm sorry, did that trump they won?
All I'm saying is when you were sitting there on your couch watching that game at the end.
I was mad at Sarkisian.
Okay.
If you let Matt Ryan be Matt Ryan and Julio Jones be Julio Jones, that game wouldn't have been close.
I think so. Go ahead, Mike.
Matt Ryan, they'll get it. It may take some time, and we got to give Steve Sarkisian a little bit of credit. I mean, it's his first game. You know, he's playing an emotional game because it's been so much talk about the Super Bowl and what happened last year, and can they get over the hump? And give the Chicago Bears credit too. They played extremely well. They fought it out to the end. They didn't back down.
Mike was okay. Mike Glennon was okay.
He stepped up to the plate and he played a pretty good game and kept them in it all the way into the end. So at the end of the day, it's Matt Ryan's offense, and they'll get it together. They just need some time.
Yeah, how about Tariq Cohen, that rookie for the Chicago Bears? I thought he played outstanding as well. Nobody saw that coming. I don't think the Falcons expected him to have that type of game. But this is what happens when you're good. When you're good, you're good. That's my offensive coordinator, Jimmy Ray. You remember Jimmy Ray from Kansas City? He used to say, all right, you're good. You're good. After a big win, he's like, you're good. Everybody knows you're good. Yeah. Get ready for this week because everybody who comes in and plays against the Falcons for the rest of the season, you're going to get their best shot. Chicago's been thinking about this game since it first came out on the schedule. Now, I will agree with you. Matt Ryan, he's going to get this set. Yeah. He will get this right. He will go in there and start. What we did last week, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, and this is us. And I think it's a relationship that is only going to get better. But I was scared at the end of the game. I thought for sure. I was like, oh, my God, it's about to be over.
Now, I mean, let's look at a graphic here. Listen, the key here is Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones, outside Austin Hooper. It was bleak. They didn't run the football.
Their run blocking wasn't good. But, again, that's why you turn the game over to Matt Ryan. Tony, I was sitting there shocked. How come they're not in some kind of hurry-up offense with this dude calling plays at the line of scrimmage? They never did it. Sarkisian was trying to control the game. I thought his ego was in the way. You got to understand, he's the only offensive or defensive coordinator in the NFL who wasn't in the NFL last year. This dude is coming over straight from college, and I'm telling you, he was sitting there thinking he was calling a college football game. We got to be balanced, 50 run, 50 pass. And I'm like, are you crazy? You got the MVP and the greatest wide receiver talent I've ever seen, and you're not trying to get these guys the ball?
Okay, but I'll go back to something. If you look at the NFC right now, the teams that most of us like, Philadelphia, highest-rated O-line, Dallas, second highest-rated O-line, Seattle's defense, Aaron Rodgers. If you get out of the occasional glamour positions, is Atlanta's personnel great? I'm talking, I don't want to hear about wide receiver. I don't want to hear about running back. And is their line play great? Their defensive line is not great.
But again, they can compensate for it by having that quarterback and those receivers. You can get the balls out of their hands quickly and get it to your playmakers. And again, put some pressure on that defense by speeding up the pace. It was a poorly coached football game, which you made the point they were going to miss Kyle Shanahan, and they did on week 1. All right, welcome back. Tony Gonzalez is back, and we're joined now by a longtime NFL coach with 2 Super Bowl rings, Rob Ryan. Let's move to Dallas, where Dak Prescott and the Cowboys beat the Giants, but Dak's performance didn't exactly blow anyone away. The quarterback didn't make any major mistakes, but had his second lowest passer rating ever in a win. Cowherd, were you impressed with Dak?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a stat. We don't do a lot of stats on this show, but I think this is an important thing. Last year, Dallas was among the NFL leaders with a rookie quarterback in time of possession. What does that tell you? Extending drives, 3rd to 1st down, keeping your defense off the field. Now, this Giant defense is good. All 9 Cowboy drives advanced into Giants territory. That's a real defense. Olivier Vernon. You're talking Pro Bowl level guys. Yeah. You can't look at numbers with Dak. Here's what Dak does that Eli can't. 3rd to 1st, extends drive, extends plays. You know, you coach defense. You can't, there's a lot of he does that's off the script. And I think he doesn't make, you get all the upside with Dak, mobility, 4 picks last year. He doesn't give you the downside that a lot of upside quarterbacks give you. I'm really blown away by him.
Yeah, I think the guy's so smart. I mean, he's running a check with me offense, 2nd year in the league. The guy was holding that, like, I thought he played excellent last night, and his lowest rating, in a win. Damn, I mean, this guy is fantastic. I saw him play in college. I loved him, and he's a winner, but he prepares. He loves football. He protects the team. 4 interceptions all season for a rookie. I mean, that's protecting the team with the football. So maybe his numbers aren't going to be Aaron Rodgers-like or whatever, but I love this guy. I think he's just going to get better and better, especially with Linehan and
offense. And they don't ask him to be Aaron Rodgers either.
No, I don't think they need him to, especially you got the best running back in the league, and you've got this great receiver. And I will say that, and I said it yesterday on our show, that I believe right now Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in that division. And I still believe after what I saw last night. But he's got the best offensive line, and he's got the best running back, so it's hard to say. But whatever it is, he's the best quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball. He reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit in that regard. He makes great decisions, doesn't turn the ball over. So the future is amazing for this guy, though. I had a chance to sit with him at the Pro Bowl last year. I was one of the team captains out there and sitting around talking to him, seeing how he carries himself with his teammates, how he carries himself when he's walking around the hotel, how he carries himself. I saw him out the partying, the scene, how he carries himself there. He is a winner. He is somebody that the Dallas Cowboys, he's going to be that face of that franchise for a long time.
Listen, I've known Tony since he was a child in Kansas City. He's been a little dishonest here. I'm going to set him straight. Look, Dak Prescott played relatively well on last night. There's one guy, though, that he's paid to connect with, Dez Bryant. 9 targets, 2 receptions. His completion percentage to Dez is like 46%. The rest of the team is over 70%. Tony, you've been the Dez Bryant of certain teams. If you only get 2 receptions and the guy's only completing 46% of his passes to you, that's a bit of a problem. Dez Bryant is played to be their big, field position changer, touchdown guy. He's got to do better with Dez.
Don't you think Janoris Jenkins had a little bit to do with that? And I mean,
yes.
2 of 9 last night, 2 of 14 last year going against that defense and Janoris Jenkins in particular.
I'm going to turn it on you. I think that's a sign of his maturity, is that Dez is big personality.
Sure.
I mean, you walk into Dallas last year, besides Romo, Dez was the star. because Ezekiel was a baby. And Dez wants the ball, and he demands the ball.
Sure.
And Dak's like, you'll get yours. Like, to me, he's not open as much. As great as Dez is.
They threw to him 9 times, Kyle.
Okay, but again, the ball was either catchable or he throws it away. You can target. The reality is what impresses me about Dak Prescott, he's never overwhelmed. Dez is, at times, is it fair to say, needy?
He's a wide receiver.
Okay. And I just think instead of knocking him, what Dak is telling you is other guys are more open. I'm going to throw to guys that are open. And
you're missing my point. In order to reach, and Rob, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, in order to reach their full potential, they're going to have to get more production out of Dez.
Oh, and they will. I mean, Dez is one of the best receivers in football. That Jackrabbit was thing like a Wolverine all over him yesterday. They did it, you know, 2 great warriors going at it because that's what Dez is. But this guy knows, you know, he'll get that ball to Dez, and he missed a couple red zone throws to Dez that should have been touchdowns.
Yes.
He was open, you know, but so he's not 100% perfect. But the one thing is, you talk about the man he is and the leader he is. He was showing my son around Mississippi State, and this guy was fantastic. You know, he's getting ready to play a huge game against Ole Miss, and he sees my son out there. Hey, Matthew, you know, how you doing, Matt, the real Matt Ryan, and not the other one that plays for Atlanta. And but he's like, you know, what a great kid. Like, he's got all this going around, and nothing fazed him. Nothing.
Rob, before we go to break, has anyone talked to you about a haircut or anything?
Now, we are going to do my locks of love like I did every year for 5 years in Oakland. So I'm going to do that now, but because it's getting a little long. But it takes so long to grow back, and
well,
you know,
really.
it's hard to get such a good look here.
It is. You know what you need? You need to go on. You need to be an actor. I can see you in Sons of Anarchy or The Dude.
Sons of Anarchy.
Well, we know the dude's back up. I mean, that's been well documented on Colin.
Welcome back. Rob Ryan is here again. We're joined now by the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to the nation's capital, where the Eagles beat the Redskins with an impressive performance from second-year quarterback Carson Wentz. He's pretty nimble. Threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not only that, the Eagles' defense surrendered just 10 points on the road to a divisional rival with some talent. Whitlock, I think the Cowboys should be worried about the Eagles. I have Philly winning this division. Do you agree?
You have Philadelphia winning this division.
Yes.
That is bat spit crazy. Are you kidding me?
I love Philadelphia.
The Dallas, listen, man, Philly won, but Carson Wentz, who I love, was inconsistent yesterday. The offensive line play I thought was inconsistent. Yeah. He was under too much duress. He's getting a lot of credit for his nimbleness. That's because his offensive line wasn't that good. Dallas is the better team. No, I don't see them winning this division. I mean, obviously you're going to be worried about them. They're within your division. But there were some moments yesterday, the interception I didn't like. There was some backward lateral that he threw. It was a poorly designed play, and then he made it worse with his throw. You know, again, Carson.
He plays fast. Carson does. He plays out of control at times. Let me just say this. The one way to beat Green Bay, keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers. The one way to beat Dallas, keep it away from the running game. Philadelphia last year led the league in time of possession, 34.5 minutes yesterday. They've got some Sproles, Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar played well. Wentz's feet keeps drives going. This team, in the last 17 games, leads the NFL in time of possession. I'm doing stats today. That's how you beat a Dallas. That's how you beat an Aaron Rodgers. You keep him off the field.
Yep.
Eye test. They don't block good enough.
That's the ultimate team stat, though. I mean, you know, that's not just an offensive stat when you talk about time of possession. You're also talking about 3 and outs on defense, getting the ball back to the offense. So that is an ultimate team stat, even though most people, like, you know, and as you know that, of course, but most people view it as, oh, it's just an offensive stat. That's not true at all. I mean, that's a team stat.
So you're impressed with time of possession?
Oh, hell yeah. And I think Schwartz does a great job with their defense. They added some players for him on defense, and with that great quarterback, he's getting better. They got weapons now. This is the team that Dallas has to worry about, and it's not just because I think week 1. No, it's there.
Yeah, the big difference, of course, guys, is the receivers. Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, they stretched the field yesterday. Carson Wentz, remember last year, struggled the deep ball. He already tried 7 passes over 20 yards yesterday. That's a big number for him. He was
Completed?
24th. Not completed, but he's trying. You know, he's working in the new receivers. But I think, as Rob was saying, the big difference is the defense. That front 7 hit Kirk Cousins 8 times, sacked him 4 times, forced 2 fumbles, got the interception. They are nasty. Now, they lost the cornerback.
Are you dancing? This man just said they're winning the division. Agree or disagree?
Well, I got to disagree because Ezekiel Elliott is still there. Now, if that suspension flips over, you know, Ezekiel Elliott's gone. Philly's the class of the division.
Even the teams we like in the NFC, like we like Dallas, we question the back end. We like Seattle, we question the offensive line. If you look at Pro Football Focus that I trust, Philadelphia has the best O-line, D-line symmetry.
Combo.
Yeah, and again, Sproles, Ertz, Aguilar, Alshon Jeffrey. There's like players here. They've
Just
added.
another word. Remember last year in the one meeting, not the Week 17 game, Philly led by 10 in the 4th quarter with a rookie quarterback in Dallas before they choked it away. Dallas won in overtime. I really think this is a threat, but I will side with you, Whitlock. Dallas is the best team in the NFC right now.
Do you think Philly's winning this division?
I tell you what, you know, I agree
Don't dance.
with Colin. No, I'm not dancing. I think these
You're
two teams. Well, I'm dancing because I don't know how the judges are going to judge that running back that I saw play. But if that Elliott's playing, I don't think anybody's beating him. But I know one thing: these guys are going to be right there. They're going to be in the playoffs. And if there's anybody close to push Dallas, it is Philly. I agree with Colin there. I mean, these are 2 of the best teams in the NFC.
It's not going to be the Giants or Washington. We can agree on that.
Dallas is winning.
Welcome back. Tony Gonzalez, Michael Vick are here. Let's move to Green Bay. Seahawks struggled to get anything going offensively, losing to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers 17-9. Green Bay did have some help. The refs calling back a pick 6 over a questionable block in the back, then ejecting cornerback Jeremy Lane for a phantom punch, all on the same play. Here's Pete Carroll after the game.
No, I have seen it, and I didn't see the punch at all. And I'm disappointed that the play would have such magnitude on the game. You know, I mean, you guys have seen more of it than I have. I just saw a little thing on the telephone here after the game, and but it's just such a drastic thing to do that I wish that they would have had cooperation from more than one official and just talk about it and figure it out, and because it's such a big call. You know, I'm not talking about even bringing the touchdown back. I'm talking about ejecting the guy. But that's what they saw. One guy saw it, and that's what they went with. And I'm anxious to hear how the league talks. You know, it tells us how that went. You know, what should happen there.
Also, a pass interference in the end zone. Yeah. Not called against Green Bay. Whitlock, refs cost the game?
Yeah, I think without question. And I mean, from the block in the back that wasn't a block in the back on Rodgers to tossing the guy out, and then obviously the pass interference. In a defensive struggle on the road, your offensive line trying to find itself. If I'm Seattle, I have every reason to believe if the officiating had been remotely fair or just competent, I would have won that game. And because we would have had that pick 6 and that would have swung the whole momentum of the game. I think without question, I'll just say this to Seattle, though. When you become the Legion of Boom, and when Richard Sherman is the face of your defense, and then Michael Bennett becomes the face of your defense, and then you become the loudest, whiniest team that you come across like an NBA team, don't be surprised if the referees don't cut you slack or don't give you all the calls you're supposed to get. Don't be surprised. They've chosen to be loud and whiny, and sometimes the refs are going to screw you.
I'm not going to blame the refs. They didn't help. But Seattle has made choices, and everybody in life makes choices. And they've made choices not to pay for offensive linemen. And I think it's a mistake. And this is the way sports works. You know, bullpens in baseball about 5 years ago became the rage. Like, have a great bullpen in Kansas City. Yeah. Offensive lines this new collective bargaining. The smart teams put money in O-lines because they figured out we're not going to have the practice time. Seattle went the other way. They spent money on Cam Chancellor, just made $36 million. And I didn't think he came off.
Didn't do much yesterday.
And I'm like, I thought he came off an average year. Seattle has made choices, and they have chosen not to spend any money on the offensive line. And even with those officials, can you remember back-to-back-to-back first downs? I mean, they got no push for 3.5 hours.
They had absolutely no offense, and that was stunning to me. I think the Jeremy Lane ejection really triggered Green Bay's offense really get into a rhythm because right after who was it, Randall Cobb?
Yeah.
He started to,
Get going.
Yeah, he got going, and he had a lot of catches out of the slot, and that's Jeremy Lane's guy. So, if you look at the grand scheme of things, the Seattle Seahawks defense was gassed. They was on the field all day.
That's no question
and
about that.
It was tick for tack all day, and they went back and forth. But you have to score some points, and then you continue to get Aaron Rodgers the ball. He's going to beat you at some point. He beat him. He was very savvy yesterday. Beat him with the hard count. Caught him with 12 men running off the field. Caught threw the touchdown downfield. Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
Just savvy plays, man. It just determined the outcome. I don't think it was the refs.
Yeah.
Think about how much Seattle struggled with a mobile quarterback. I mean, think about how bad that offensive line. What if that is
Eli Manning.
or Matt, even a Matt Ryan, a good quarterback.
Somebody who's not a scrambler. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And it's sad because this is a very good football team. This is a team that could win the Super Bowl, I believe. But you can't leave your defense in those positions because you're not scoring points. Offensive line, we just talked about it. You got to have one, and I don't understand it because if you study it and you look back and you see what teams that go to the Super Bowls, they have that good offensive line. You have to have at least a good offensive line, a great offensive line, if you really want to go out there and actually move that ball up and down the field. It makes all the difference in the world.
Hold for 1 second, though. Seattle, if Richard Sherman was here, was like, hey, man, we won a Super Bowl with this defense.
They had a pretty good offensive line, though.
Their offensive line wasn't atrocious.
Yeah, with this defense, and they won a Super Bowl. You're telling me, though, you would, after those officiating calls, particularly the pass interference, the getting thrown out of the game, you wouldn't, as a player, be in that locker room like, man, the ref screwed us.
You know what, Jeremy Lane? Don't do that. Come on. You can do that against Jones Junior High School, but you're playing against one of the best teams in the NFL. You can't afford to make those type of mistakes. He knows you can't do that. It was over. That play was way away.
He was wrestling with a guy.
He shouldn't have got kicked out of the game, but that is unnecessary roughness. That's unnecessary roughness according to the rules. If I'm on his team,
soft wide receiver.
I'm a tight end. Now, look
like a wide receiver.
I'm telling you right now, if you, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It was.
So, anyways, when you're out there and you're playing in this game as a veteran player, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, come on, like we're fighting, our butts off. Look what you just did.
There is a sense, like I always think about this, like in boxing. You're from Kansas City, I'm from Seattle. We fight, and we fight in Kansas City. You know you have to win the fight.
Home cooking, yeah.
In college, like Ohio State, Oklahoma, there was a couple of pro Buckeye fans. In the NFL, I don't feel it exists, but Green Bay's always had a college feel to it. And I sat there yesterday, and I'm like, this feels like college officiating. And I always feel in a college game, if you were at Virginia Tech and you go to Virginia, you know you're going to get hosed once. And it's almost like Green Bay's the college atmosphere of the NFL. And I thought early in the game, I'm like, this is like college officiating.